Hello, sir. How's it going? You are here now for the Bucs Report post-game show. You've had the pre-game show, now you got the post-game show. We're slicking the dude. We're calling it live as it's happening, and this one, the dust is finally settled. And there's a little bit of heartbreak in not the fashion most Bucs fans would have probably expected. Me personally, I didn't think we'd miss a kick like that, but hey, we drove it into the place. You can't argue with Kyle Trask for that final drive. It was an up and down. It was an up and down preseason game, to be honest. It was a bit messy in places, but we seem to have we're solid in general. Considering what we were missing, I was pretty pleased with what I've seen from some players. A little bit lackluster from others. How say you, the dude?
Okay, well, let me start it off. It's preseason, right?
Mm-hmm.
That said, you've got 20-some seconds left on the clock. 30 seconds, I think it was closer to.
Yep.
You've got a timeout. You're at the 35-yard line, right?
Mm-hmm.
You've just moved the ball all the way down the field multiple times passing, okay?
Yep. I'm still with you.
Why would you run it into the line of scrimmage and let the clock wind all the way down and call timeout so your rookie kicker can kick a effing 49-yard field goal?
Absolutely. I mean, I completely agree with you. I mean, you hadn't been running the ball at that point in time. You're in hurry-up offense. I don't know if that was a case of like, we'll see if we can catch them out. Well, at the end of the day, if they're going to run the ball, you're burning the clock. Like, you could possibly get away with 2 throws in there, potentially even 3 if you're quick enough. If they don't go to ground, and if they become incomplete passes, then yeah, you could potentially have 3 shots. But instead, they run a ball that burns off a good 20 seconds. Personally, I don't like the call, but hey, this is preseason. Let's not think about. I don't know what was going on. I thought this would have been a good dress rehearsal to try and get the ball in, maybe possibly put it in the end zone, maybe just try and creep the yards a little bit more. The passing was decent. I mean, you look at his passing numbers; he was pretty good. I believe in total he was 20 passes over 26, so that's not so bad. 1 touchdown, 1 touchdown and 1 INT, and he had the drive where he handed off the ball for a touchdown too. So in that sense, it wasn't so bad, but it just seemed a little bit off, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, it was very anticlimactic. I mean, granted, maybe they wanted to see if that kicker could make a long kick, in crunch time.
It's a crunch time kick, and that is a crunch time kick that you will be called upon to kick that kind of ball before. So can you do it?
Yeah, I mean, it is what it is. We do got to talk about some of the I don't want to say breakout performances because, it's against a bunch of UPS workers, but Jalen Darden looked good. Tyler Johnson looked good.
Tyler Johnson had a very good game.
Kyle Trask looked good. Needs a few things to improve upon, but that's what these games are for. Who else was good? Devin Tompkins made some hay.
Yep. No, the defensive side of the ball, we got a sack from Anthony Nelson. We got a sack from Cam Gill. I can't pronounce the last guy. I'm going to do my best. Fatu Sai had 6 tackles, the tackle leader of the team. So yeah, there was some bright spots in that whole thing. And Rashad White was probably the best running back on the team as well. So that says something. A 4.6 average. I felt Bernard had a heavy workload. I sort of didn't see a lot of production out of him, but he had a heavy workload. We didn't see Jalen Darden field a punt or kick return.
No, we didn't, but we do know that Giovanni Bernard left the game with a mild injury. We're not sure. I'll have to check for you here real quick. But from what I understand, it sounds like it was a hamstring or something.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, Rashad White, whatever it is. I think he showed you why the Buccaneers believe in him.
Mm-hmm.
And we let's start. We're bouncing around here a little bit, which is no big deal. We do got to give props where they're due. Kyle Trask, 25 for 33, 258 yards. That's
Mm-hmm.
not bad. The 2 turnovers,
Yeah.
gave a people a bunch of Winston stress disorder on that one. But
Yeah, absolutely. W
yeah, I mean,
WST.
it was a good game. As far as that, I'll be honest. It's hard for me to really think about what defensive guy stood out aside from Anthony Nelson early in the game.
Cam Gill started pretty well. So he got 4 tackles and a sack, and Anthony Nelson 2 and a sack. And then the rest was kind of DBs making tackles, and that's not what you want to see. You don't want to see corners making lots of tackles because it usually means that your edges can be given up, and you're expecting your secondary force to do most of the work. It depends on what defense you're in. If you're in a too high, then you're more expecting more work from your corners from a tackle point perspective, because obviously they become the force defender rather than the secondary force defender. It depends on those kinds of things. But yeah, as the defense seemed a little quiet, started off quite nicely to begin with. We had that one drive where they got the field goal, and then we seemed a little bit lock up after that, and we're looking towards the end of the second quarter, just before half, and we're like, hang on, we're 6-14. This is great. And then all of a sudden, within 2 minutes, we're staring down. Oh, right, okay, it's not like that anymore.
Yeah, they scored 17 points, I believe, in like a minute 17 or a minute 30, something in that area. Most of that's just turnovers and BS.
One's a turnover. One was I think, a busted coverage. So they got the turnover, and then they literally threw one ball for a touchdown straight off the bat, and you never want that. So you didn't even slow them down; you just allowed them straight in. I think that was the one that frustrated probably some Bucs fans out there, because I believe that was Zion McCullum's assignment. He had a very quiet game considering. Logan Hall had quite a quiet game considering. I don't know how much he was on the field, but I'm just looking from a pure stats point of view. Because it's obviously hard for us to keep track of every single player while we're sitting there enjoying the game. Because I always say, myself, as a coach, I don't watch Buccaneers football to coach it. I just watch it to enjoy it.
Yeah, and that's the problem I run into. I'm over here trying to pound out these little highlight articles. By the time I get one out, there's another one to do. So I feel you on that. Outside linebacker Cam Gill left the game with a foot injury. Running back Giovanni Bernard with an ankle injury. The only thing we have about them so far is both are out. We're out for the rest of the game. Buccaneers media is gathering around the podium now for the post-game press conferences, so we'll keep you updated as those unfold. Do we got anybody in the back? Looks like we got your buddy Alec in the back. You want to bring in Alec?
Let's bring Alec. He was very active on social media today, so bring him in.
There you go.
Oh, what's up, Slick and dude?
How's it going, man? What was your biggest takeaway from today?
Not upset. Surprisingly, not upset.
Not upset.
You can't really expect much. I mean, Kyle Trask, yes, he has errors. I mean, it's just typical preseason stuff that always happens. You learn from it. You go back to the film, see what you did wrong, fix the errors, and then second half, you started seeing him change everything around.
Mm-hmm.
He could do better at, if this makes sense, game pace. If that makes sense. It's like the last drive where the ball got batted in the air. That's one of those plays that you can't rush the play. You could just ran the other way and try to find something open. Instead, you're going towards where everybody is at, trying to sack you. It says some errors that he can easily just work on. It's not huge errors. It's just the minuscule of that stuff that happens. But overall, I'm impressed with Rashard White. Loving his motor on him. Jalen Darden finally getting some reps in there at wide receiver.
Yep.
I can't complain. Borgalis, I mean, it's just a typical icing the kicker thing. It just got to him. I'm not really worried about that one.
But you're going to go forward. I'm going to put you in on the hot seat now. Then, Alec, you're the GM. This is probably one of the bigger questions that you've got to answer as a GM or a head coach or head of football operations, whatever you want to call it. You've got Succop. Now, Succop didn't kick at all, as far as I could see. he did not kick. And now you've got a guy who you've got in. They're competing. I'm hearing the battle is very competitive in camp, and it is tight. The only difference is Bugalis is kicking the longer ball, so you end up giving him the situation where he can kick a longer ball. I'm pretty sure that's still within Suckup's range. I'm not 100% sure on that. I'd have to check. I know he's in that like really late 40s. Isn't that a cause for concern? Because you don't know how many opportunities you're going to get. Because what happens if the Buccaneers don't get that long field goal in the next couple of games? They have a few more situations where they don't have that, that vibe of getting that experience into him. Isn't that something that could be a cause for concern at this point, or are you really not that worried?
I mean, I see what you're saying, because they more of like, now that you put it in perspective of how that would be, and like if they ever get a chance in that situation again.
Mm-hmm.
If you put it that way, I feel like they'll go. I would go with by time week 3 hits, because that's when they finalize. I think like middle of week 2 is like when they get like their set roster, kind of.
Yeah.
Like week 3 is like kind of like this side little miscorrections. I would say go with Bergalis.
Okay. There's no wrong answer really in this, because you're going to go with a solid, dependable vet that costs a bit more money, but you know what he can do, or you're going to go down the... Because the Buccaneers, obviously you would know, and a lot of the people watching this know, we don't have a great track record when it comes to kickers for a long time. So you don't want to kind of mess with that juju. Yeah, we don't want to mess with that juju. So it's like, we could go with this other guy, because I think I've been there before when we've had a kicker. I wouldn't say I had a kicker, because that's not really fair. But we've gone down the route of going, we're going with this guy. For example, the Rams kicker, yeah? Matt Gay, yeah. We let him go, and he was bad for us, but he obviously had the potential to be a good player, because he just kind of won a Super Bowl for another team and played really well. Nick Folk, who played terrible for us, went back to New England and was still much better than he was for us. So there is almost like a curse when it comes to kickers, and it's like, do you mess with we're finally onto a good thing with Suckup? Because Suckup does miss, but nowhere near. He's pretty clutch in general.
Yeah.
I think it's the whole like, did we mess around? Because you put either of those guys, they will probably be picked up by a team ASAP.
I mean, I would just go with, as they usually say in terminology, I would say go with the hot hand, if that makes sense. It's just you gotta. I can't. I'm not gonna. It's just like Kyle Trask. You can't just bash the dude off of.
Of course not.
Because there is some Bucs fans I know that when the whole Brady news broke out, they're like, "Oh, we gotta rely on Kyle Trask or Blaine Gabbert." I'm like, y'all just bash the piece. Like something. I'm not saying you. I'm saying it's like a few fans I know that will just bash a person before they can even join the team, right? So I would say they go with who they trust more. They haven't. I would say they haven't let us down with kickers before, but it's just where you're at in that position. Anywhere else let us down management wise is for picking the right player. It's just a kicking curse with us. Everybody has a curse for something.
Absolutely. I think that's the thing. That's my philosophy on it is, do you mess with what's going good so far, or do you take I won't say a risk, because he's not really a risk, but do you know what I mean? You go down the route of going that, because Suckup might not be there again. So it's not like you can go, we'll let him go and we'll go for the next guy. It's not going to work like that.
You just pick him back up.
Exactly. Speaking of the big elephant in the room, the big thing that everyone wanted to talk about was who's going to be the wide receiver, probably the 5 and 6. In your eyes, from preseason game, taken out of camp, or just seeing what you see in preseason game, eyes on the field, who shot the most? I think that's kind of obvious.
I mean, I've only seen flashes. I mean, I would say Tyler Johnson's been around, but he hasn't really been used as much I'm probably saying that wrong. He probably didn't use a lot.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm starting to see that second year progression also from Jalen Darden.
Yeah.
I like how they like because my prediction was right preseason wise that they're going to take Jalen Darden away from punt returns and everything just to see how he is in a wide receiving position, just to just play wide receiver, about returning kicks. I'm actually loving that second year progression. I didn't have high hopes on him last year only because I was like, we already have who we have. Anybody else that steps up, more of us like an asset at that point. But I would say if they go in the direction of putting Jalen Darden receiver at like wide receiver 4 or 5, I would just keep it with Tyler Johnson and Jalen Darden. Geiger is another one that I'm liking. Which are probably they're probably going to put him at practice squad most likely. Just,
I think so.
Just for depth wise, like you can't. And also, I did not know this. This is actually they brought up during the game. I forgot his name on top of my head.
Hey, 9. Let's go ahead and bring in Rick Hughes. He's been sitting here in the lobby for quite a while, guys.
It's number 9 in the Bucs. I'm trying to remember.
Hey guys.
How's it going, Rick? How's it going?
Great. How are you?
Pretty good. I mean, I see some enthusiastic stuff I can see from the Bucs. It's just, we always want to see a W regardless, but we know that W does not count. It's just nice to have.
Yeah, I don't think they cared at all.
So
I don't think that last drive. Yeah, that last drive, I don't think they cared at all as far as trying to get closer. I don't think it was all like, how do we win? How do we win? I just think it's at that point, you're like, let's get out of here, without any injuries. Let's let a kicker take a shot to win the game. I don't even think the Borregales miss is that big of a deal. I mean, they said on the broadcast, look, it's just like the worst the ball came off his foot worse than any kick that he's had. It just, I mean, it's one of those things, like he was even laughing. Borregales was even laughing after it happened. Like, what the heck? I mean,
it's just one of those things you just shrug off at that point.
Right. Look, this game went exactly, I mean, it was, I don't know how else to say this when it comes to preseason. This was a great game. I mean, we got to see from different players what we want. Is anybody worried at all, no matter what decision they make at wide receiver? I mean,
no.
The tight ends look good. The wide receivers look good. Heck, Kyle Trask looks like, okay, give him some time. He's still growing, all of that. I mean, this guys, this went close to perfect.
So, Rick, I got a question for you. What is your takeaway from preseason today?
My takeaway? Thank God football is back. Oh my God, I miss this. I mean, this
from a Buccaneers fan perspective.
Yeah, this is awesome. I mean, this was a lot of fun to watch. To see them getting back out there. They didn't play their starters. Hallelujah. I hope they don't play them all preseason. I mean, I want to see. Look, I think Giovanni Bernard is. I think they showed where they expect him to fit in the depth chart as far as up higher. He seems like he gets hurt a lot, but he tweaked something. They said he was walking around just fine on the sidelines, and they probably just pulled him out just to be safe. But the thing is, we saw some young guys really progress. The defense, and nobody's talked about this, the run stopping, the defense was insane.
Yep.
I mean, ridiculous. They had 2 runs that totaled, I believe, something like 28 yards or 25 yards. And how many did they end up with total? I mean,
49.
And 2 of them totaled like 25 or 29. So they had like out of all the rest of those runs, they had 20 yards. I mean, the defense looked fantastic when it came to stopping the run. And listen, guys, these were not our starters. I'm encouraged coming out of the game, and that's all you want coming out of preseason. You want to leave the game going, okay, all right, And that's how I feel. I mean, what's the big weakness? Somebody tell me when you watch this, you go, okay, our fourth and fifth string defensive backs.
Yeah,
Okay.
absolutely. I agree with you because 2 of their touchdowns came from goofy plays. So
Right. And yeah, two touchdowns off of turnovers. And Kyle
This
Trask,
is
I'm sorry.
missed
He looked
players.
Yeah, Kyle Trask looked pretty good. Okay, he's gonna develop. Look, you've got Jordan Love gets how many years to develop? You know, Aaron Rodgers had how many years to develop? Now, if we watch Kyle Trask develop, who knows? Now, I'm not saying, please, nobody get the impression I'm comparing him to Aaron Rodgers. Okay, what I'm saying the amount of time to develop. This is a good thing, and we haven't talked about Blaine Gabbert looked great.
he did.
Okay, yes, and look, if we end up having Blaine Gabbert, I'm not freaking out. I've said this all along. Dude and I have talked about this. I'm not freaking out if Blaine Gabbert ends up in a game. This team is stacked.
Yeah,
It really is stacked. And I mean, I think you put Blaine Gabbert in this situation, and yeah,
I didn't even know that. I'm not sure if you guys heard it on during the game, but they said that Stearns, the receiver we have number 9,
yeah,
in college, he led the nation in receiving yards, receptions, and touchdowns.
yeah, yeah, and that was a beautiful
The third
catch.
player in NCAA history to make that.
Yeah, beautiful catch, beautiful throw.
I
That was
said he
fun
was
to watch.
5'9" over. They was like a 6'2"
Yeah.
receiver corner.
Well, the ball was placed perfectly. I mean, he played the ball perfectly. Everything was. This is the encouraging part of this. There were so many receivers, and none of our starters played, and all of our
That last
receivers
drive.
looked good. We're fine at wide receiver. I mean, it's our backup quarterback looked good. Our running game looked okay. I mean, there were so many things. There's so many things to look at and feel good about that. I mean, this is what you want to walk out from after preseason game number 1. You can't look at it and say, "Oh no, this one aspect could have been better." Again, it's preseason game 1. You're looking at your fourth string players, and you're not playing even with your normal playbook. So, you don't overblow anything, good or bad. I mean, Kyle Trask is not going to come out here in the regular season and start throwing for this, for this kind of a game. Please, for the love of God, nobody say that Kyle Trask should be starting. Okay,
Well, I think
there's a. That's what I said to. I
to.
said to dude, and I put it on there. As soon as that first touchdown happened, I was wondering how many Bucs fans were scrambling to delete all of the Kyle Trask hate tweets
the trash
that
talk.
were out. Yeah, I was wondering how many were scrambling out there trying to delete all of those things so they could say, "No, I liked them all along." And then
keep my mouth shut.
yeah, then the pick happened, and they're all looking for the undelete button. So I mean, right? So
Yeah, I literally had no ever since we had him. You can even ask Rick when the whole Tom Brady thing happened. I wasn't opposed if Kyle Trask was the only option. I wouldn't wouldn't have hate for it because he had the years behind Brady. I knew it was probably gonna be if he was God forbid if he was supposed to be our starter for this season.
no,
Worst case Brady didn't retire. If Brady retired, and I was and Blaine Gabbert for some odd reason said, "Deuces, I'm out," and we had Kyle Trask, I would just say run with it.
No. He
Wrong with
didn't take a snap all last season in practice. Why would you
that's
say
how you
go with
that's
it?
how you get the person. You got to throw him with the wolves at that point.
No. You bring somebody in who's a stopgap. You do whatever you got to do, but we don't have to worry about that because we have Brady. We think we have Brady. I mean, you just no. All right, look, Kyle Trask is exactly where we want him to be. Third string, he's developing. This is awesome. Blaine Gabbert's been in the league for I don't know, what
12
is
years.
it, 9 years, 8 years, something like that. And Ryan Griffin, I think, is older than Brady. I mean, and it's stop the kooky talk, guys. We've got a good team. Everything looked
Well,
good
you guys
tonight.
got to talk about something at this point. Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah,
so we've
which,
got another guest coming in. We've got Ben Cornett coming in as well from NFL.
oh, good. More
Welcome to the
reason.
show, Ben.
More voice of reason. More voice of reason. Hi,
How are
Ben.
you, Ben?
Well, Rick, I'd hold up on that because I'm kind of deep into the beer right now. So be a voice of reason for as long as I can until my third or fourth one kick in. So anyway,
Nice.
how's it going, guys?
Yeah, I'm pretty. I wouldn't say I'm amazed or anything because I wasn't expecting to be, but in general, I'm impressed by a couple of players like Tyler Johnson making that big step with 73 yards. That's encouraging to see from him because we're all saying it's a do or die season for him because that wide receiver group is so tight. And then our defense has snagged 2 sacks from our backup guys, so to show that they can step up when needed. Because that's the one thing you need when you have your defensive line. You need guys to step up and make plays.
Yeah. You know who I liked tonight was Nelson. He did a very good job when he was in there. He got a sack. He brought the pressure. I was really impressed with Anthony Nelson. What do you guys think?
Yeah, absolutely. I completely agree. But I've got to take for you. What's your biggest takeaway, Ben, from this game?
For me, I thought, guys like Anthony Nelson, like I just mentioned, especially now that JPP's not there anymore, we're a little thin in the defensive end part. But, we got Joe Tyron, who I don't think he played tonight, but Anthony Nelson is a nice rotation player, and he could really help out, spell, Tyron on key downs. So, that impressed me. And then Rashad White really impressed me tonight, man. He's got the speed, the wheels, can also pass block. He had a couple nice screen plays. So, and our offensive line, our backup offensive line actually played pretty good.
Yep. Yep. One other takeaway, if you watch the broadcast, Vita Vea is a terrible interview. That was funny. I mean, that was absolutely funny. He's wonderful on the field. You got to love the guy. But wow.
Well, hopefully Bucs PR can really help him out with interviews, help groom him, one day. Hey, we might need him if we win another Super Bowl, if we need to get that interview out of him. He needs to step up his verbal skills.
That was hilarious.
Absolutely.
Oh, man. But listen, you can't take anything too seriously. It's preseason game number 1.
Yeah.
I mean, you can't, when it comes to what's my takeaway on to week 2, that's my takeaway. I mean, it's the coaches are going to see stuff I'm never going to understand. The decisions are going to be made on things that weren't just in the games. They're also in the practices and in the scrimmages. And I mean, if I have any takeaway, it's this simple. All right, we look pretty good tonight. That's it.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. You're right, Rick.
Yeah,
exactly right. I agree.
But just what you wanted to see there, guys. Kyle Trask would start regular season week 17 if everything locks up for the playoff spot.
No, they'll probably put Blaine Gabbert in.
Please put Blaine Gabbert in.
Actually, no, it's not even an if. It's gonna happen. They're gonna put him in.
Oh,
you're probably like the last 2 minutes, just like the shits and giggles.
Yeah. Well, again, Teresa have to go, gentlemen. Football, nice. I'm glad she's home. By the way, good that Teresa's back healthy.
Yeah,
absolutely.
It's great to have her back.
Yeah,
absolutely great to have Teresa back.
But I definitely love how they moved Jalen away from punt returns, kick returns, and actually say, you know what, we're going to put you at wide receiver and see how you fit
Yeah,
with the
now we got to
plays.
wonder whether that means he's not going to play because listen, if you're a number 5 or 6 or God forbid or possibly even 7 receiver, you'd better be on special teams.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So anyway,
Yeah,
guys, I've
he better
got
be
to
the one
run.
catching the
I
ball.
got to
That man,
yeah, I got to run, guys.
No
But
worries,
All
mate.
right,
Thanks for coming
yeah,
on.
so
Much
Good to
appreciated.
see you.
you got it. Go Bucks.
Go Bucks,
go
baby.
Bucs.
The Bucks.
No, because the way I see it is like if he can, like, yeah, he's shown his flashes for his average wide receiver. If God forbid they put him at kick return, punt return, I hope he knows how to stay on 2 feet and not somehow slip every time or have some kind of stutter move or he freaks out and goes the other way and has a bad position on the
Yeah.
field. But so far from wide receiver, I loved what I saw from him. Him and God, Stearns. Yeah, Stearns.
But Stearns had a great showing. I think he's going to be one of those later cuts. I think he will get cut eventually.
Yeah,
When
probably
it
on
comes
practice
to,
squad for depth.
yeah, that's what I mean. I think those two, like Tompkins and him for sure, will probably end up being guys that are going to be on the practice squad. The problem is, like, when you look at the punt returns, it was Devin Tompkins and then Kenyon Greer. And then on the kick return, it was Rashad White and Devin Tompkins. So it's like, okay, we know Rashad White's going to make the roster. But the other 2 guys I just mentioned, I wouldn't say they're close to making the roster. So who's going to punt return? Because the 2 punt return guys probably won't make the roster. So now I'm there scratching my head. You can't have. Are they going to go with White and do everything? I mean, when you're if he's a second stringer, maybe they could.
But,
I don't know.
I mean, Rashad White, his first return. I mean, obviously it was kind of like that jitters. I expect like a flash of like a whole return for a touchdown.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's always like the rookies that I don't. It's not like they're gonna do my mindset that they're gonna do bad. I don't put my expectations high, so I can be impressed later down the road. But I've seen it in training camp. Now I'm seeing it on the field. That man has wheels.
Oh, for sure. No doubt. So it'd be interesting to see who they do go with as a punt returner because they seem pretty comfortable with him as a kick returner. Yeah, I just try. I think for me that's the only thing that perplexes me a little bit because I don't know who they want to put in there.
I mean,
well, I think they're still trying to figure that out with the punt returner. They're going to try different guys. I think Tompkins was there tonight. I don't know. Maybe next week they try Scotty Miller there, possibly for a punt return or 2. So, yeah, it will be interesting to see. That's probably why they got so many receivers that on this roster too. So that way they could find that one guy who could be the returner.
I'm almost ready to see this. I'm almost ready to see that one comment this week of some disgruntled Bucs fan saying, "Oh, we should put Suckup in," or some BS comment like that. Like, it's typical ISO kicker. You can't really. It's his preseason. People just.
You just read that comment.
Like overreact. Yeah, I just read that comment.
I wonder who he's talking about.
he's watching the game right now, probably.
God. He's
on a time delay. He's on my kind of time delay.
I don't know. I guess over where he's at, his NFL Plus is messing with him. I had no problem watching it.
Yeah, me neither. Now, the preseason games you can watch on your TV, but the regular season games, the local games, you cannot. It's only on your phone or tablet.
That's why I only pay for the. That's why I only pay for the month.
Yeah. Is Rick back? What's going on?
Someone's got that. We're gonna do a sleep apnea advert in a minute, and just to get that going, you know.
Oh, okay.
As long as I'm playing the Yes, I'm fine.
Yeah.
Don't
So
play the Yes.
we're pretty solid with our running backs right now. We know who our 1 and 2 guys are. Who's going to take in the 3rd spot?
The tight ends.
No, the running back.
Running back. Oh,
it has to be a battle between Keyshawn Vaughn and Bernard.
I might go Bernard just because of the
I
experience.
mean, obviously, it was like for like veteran. Probably have to go with veteran, but
and he can return kicks as well. Just to add that.
Keyshawn Vaughn just has to like. I don't know. Like from what I saw in the game, it's just he does too much and doesn't just try to find the holes. I mean, I'm not even gonna try to fucking have any cons with him because the first game and stars are not all playing.
But it seems to be playing style is just to try and bosh it up and then kind of gain what he can gain, which is great sometimes, but not when it's useful when you're trying to gain the first down. It's useful when you're trying to gain hard yards. It's not useful when you're 1st and 10.
Because on the stats, it says Keyshawn Vaughn had 10 carries for 19. Giovanni Bernard had 7 carries for 19.
1.9 a carry.
Yeah. And then receiving, Tyler Johnson had 6 receptions for 73. Stearns 4 receptions for 51. And I'm loving Geiger's play, especially that one at the very end of the game. Kyle should have Trask thread the needle in the middle. I thought that was gonna be a drop pass. I'm not even gonna lie. The way it looked, I was like, if he drops that catch, me personally, I thought they were. I thought they were going for like 10 more yards at least. But
that Trask to Stearns. Do you see that one throw? That Trask to Stearns on the touchdown. That overhead throw. That was
the 5'9" receiver over the 6'3".
That was a sweet play right there, man. I enjoyed that.
I already know some Bucs fans always wanted. They're going to talk smack about Trask all they want. This is typical Bucs. Some Bucs fans just get bored in the offseason or preseason. They just want to find the next thing to be mad about. Now this week they're talking about the kicker and stuff like that. But it's just it's the first game that he's.
Kicker's going to be interesting tomorrow. Tomorrow, I'm interested to wake up tomorrow in the morning. Well, I suppose morning, but still be nighttime for you guys to see how much anger there is for a guy who missed a kick. That's my biggest takeaway from how much anger will there be from Bucs fans because someone missed a kick, and then how much in arguing will there be on both sides. So people are going to look, guys, it's just preseason. Really.
Oh yeah, but in reality, though, Slick right now, Borg Angles, he was the only kicker tonight. So we have Suckup's going to play next week. Let's see what happens then between the two.
And also, they said that how they caught how he had the position they had the ball at, it was meant it was gonna miss regardless because they didn't have a good placement of the ball before he kicked it.
That looked more of just like a bad kick by Borgalis. From what I saw a couple replays of it. It was more just a bad kick. That's all it was.
I mean, it's gonna happen. People have their little errors in preseason. They're gonna go they're gonna go Monday morning, go over the film, and it's gonna go right back to square one again.
Yeah,
fix the errors. That's all it really is. If people think that team's gonna be perfect in the preseason, they're completely wrong. Even the veterans mess up in preseason.
No, you know what? You know what you're gonna hear? Oh, the Ravens are 20-0 in their last 20 preseason games.
By the way, this is probably not Bucs related. It's definitely not Bucs related. But I'm glad Jets fans aren't pissing themselves right now because Zach Wilson's injury wasn't that severe.
Oh, is it come up that it wasn't an ACL that everyone thought it was?
Yeah.
No, it was just a bone bruise. Deep bone bruise. So he'll be out a few weeks.
A bit of ice on his bum. I'm sure if they get some older nurses in, he'll be absolutely fine.
I think once the Bucs saw that, they're like, yeah, all the starters stay on the bench. Stay on the bench.
Oh, Zachary, come here, boy. Give me that leg. Put that leg up for mommy.
Dan Campbell's like, he's mine.
Bite it.
One thing I like to see, and I don't know if you guys caught a lot of it, is Cade Otton and his pass pro off the edge. he had some solid blocks in there that
Right.
I think one of them led to a touchdown, or some good big plays. The one thing I also noticed, they like to play wide receiver bunch quite often, whether in a nasty, and by nasty, I'm using terminology from my football, and I know every team uses different terminology. So a nasty bunch in my set is where you have a bunch set very, very close to the line of, very close to the, there's like a very small disconnect between the end man line of scrimmage and the first receiver. They seem to really like a nasty bunch set.
Yeah, because they want to, keep the defense guessing, keep them off. There's always on bunch sets. There's always going to be somebody that can, if they run their routes right, squeezes open.
Yeah, because you have one guy kind of going deep-ish, another guy who's shifting from one side to the other, and another guy who's got that open safety valve over the top, that's shallow. Yeah, I mean, it always works. Well, I say always works, but it works in general because there's three guys coming out and they're all tight together. So it's like kind of who's going where, and it can, for man coverage, it's an absolute pain in the backside.
Yeah, we'll see a lot of that in the regular season. It's like, they love running those kind of. We got the receivers to do it, so that's what makes it even more better.
Absolutely, and then
anybody peep Bruce Arians in the press box?
I've not seen any of it yet.
No, they show like a camera angle of Bruce Arians up there. He's probably like backhand one of the players right now.
So for me, I felt when Trask first went under center and he started playing for us, we got the first drive in, looked great. I was like, okay, this is encouraging. The next two drives where we gave up interceptions, fumbles, or whatever they decided to designate them as, he seemed to have like no pocket presence. You could see the pressure coming to him, and he completely did not see it coming.
I think from that standpoint, it was more because he had Hainsey on that one drive, and then when he had the other two drives where he kind of like turned into 14 points for Miami, it's more of like once he hit that halftime, I could tell he started adjusting. He's like what his mindset was, because I'm guessing he thought the center that was after Hainsey. He's like, I'm good then, as I can do this. But now he started. He looked during the halftime. Pretty sure he already looked at the film and said, like, you know what? Now I know what not to do, and to do the most. And then started to change everything around and started adjusting, which is what I'm liking about him. He actually, it takes a while. It's taking a while to adjust when it's already 14 points scored on them. But second half, he's like, you know what? Fix the errors. And
it would a simple adjustment probably would have been something as simple as you come into your 3-step drop or your QB drop, flash your peripheral vision to your blind side, because that's where the pressure was coming. What always seemed to have got him. Just flash your eyes. Don't fix it. Just flash your eyes. See what you can see, and then fix. Because every time this happened, he was turning to his right hand side, so his left was vulnerable. And it almost like he was so focused on what he was doing over here that he could not see anything coming near him. So it looked like he had zero pocket presence in those two particular plays. And it seemed like he started to get that. There was like it was almost like he just the statuesque passer. He just goes back, looks, drops, throws, which we all know in this day and age is kind of redundant now. You can't really be that person. Even Tom Brady is very shifty in the pocket. It's just moving left, moving right, moving forward, moving back.
Even if you look at that one play that Rachaad White had, he had that ball where that play where he ran damn near into midfield, but of course they had that holding call on us, and there was at least like two holding calls that could have been, if they never would have happened, it would have been decent field range for us. It's just those things you just gotta fix. So I don't really expect much from like the first week preseason. I enjoy watching it, but it's more of those tweak and peak things. It's not gonna be huge errors, but stuff that players playing in actual game time is different from training camp, where you're wearing the weird helmet things on top of your head. You're actually out in game time situations.
Yeah, and I was gonna say real quick with Trask. I mean, he does, like Slick said, he's got to get a little more shifty. He's a little stoic out there still, and the tunnel vision. That's a lot of times, they always want to try to because coaches will tell you what play it is. Byron's going to give them the play, and I think when you're out there sometimes as a quarterback, you want to focus on that one play. You do that too much, and you're not seeing your the defense coming, the blitzes coming from the blind side, from this direction, that direction. Just because you're so focused on trying to make that play. That's why, like I said, just got to get shifty. Just move the head. Just have some movement in this, and he'll be fine. He had some good plays tonight, guys. Kyle Trask played a pretty good game overall.
And I'd like to just point out that when they had that play that went in for the pick six, not the pick, sorry, the interception, and he did get rushed into throwing his pass really quickly. He did that dump off to White, and then the ball did kind of weird leg, kind of weird tangle up cat that they did. Yeah. They moved Brandon Walton from guard to tackle. So you're asking for a guard to play tackle. And this isn't Madden where you can just change the designation in the settings and it just reevaluates their skill set. And we're ready to rock and roll. It's a completely different thing. Now, this guy might play tackle in college. He might have had a little taster here and there and played multiple different positions. But in the NFL, when you've got pure pass rushers, it's probably not worth doing. So I don't hold it too much on him. I think it's just everyone wants the expectations for Trask are really high because of what he has around him and the legacy that's probably going to be left by Tom Brady. So when Tom Brady does hang them up, or if he does hang them up, whatever, it's a relevant conversation. When Kyle Trask gets that moment, it's like, well, you're not Tom Brady. And that's a really impossible task to fill. We don't need him to be Tom Brady because he never will be Tom Brady. It's probably not going to be down that line. Now, it could. Who knows? I'm not pleasing anyone. Don't say that. I'm saying Kyle Trask will be the next Tom Brady. I'm really not. But I'm just saying, nobody knows. Nobody saw Patrick Mahomes become the player that he became until he had his opportunity to play. By all reports, I remember that he wasn't playing that great in camp himself in the year before he had it in his rookie year, and I believe he was throwing a fair few interceptions in his I suppose you would call it sophomore year or second year with the Chiefs, where he really was the starter. He was throwing picks all over camp, and he just got it when it mattered. All I'm saying is I think people want to throw quarterbacks out because it's so easy to go, we'll just go on to the next guy. We'll go on to the next guy. But that's the biggest problem in this sport is people are too easy and readily available to go to the next guy before really giving the guy that they've really got a chance, because it's what have you done for me lately attitude in this league.
Slick, it's the Madden era with fans. That's the problem, man. Like it's the Madden video game era. They want it now. No, we expect this, we expect that. I mean, it's just, and the social media. That's the other thing. It's just they don't understand development. They just don't.
Oh, you mean the Twitter finger people?
Twitter, Facebook, everywhere. I mean, development is key. It doesn't happen overnight. It doesn't happen in a year. Some guys it takes quicker than others. Some guys it takes longer than others. You just have to develop. Watch them develop. It takes time. Just be patient. God forbid, be patient.
I think a lot of people would have been done with Carlton Davis after year one.
Right, yeah.
And he's a fantastic corner, and you could just see it was coming because he was a bit of a flag drawer in his first 2 years with the Buccaneers because of how physical he plays. And it wasn't until the coaching staff, and I think cornerback is probably the difficultest position to finesse. It's probably the easiest to teach. It's the hardest to master it. And this is just my opinion. It's an incredibly tough position to be in the mindset of going against guys who know where they're going. They know exactly where they're going, when they need to go, and where they're going and when they're going changes every single freaking play. Whether they're going in breaking route and out breaking route, they're gonna the moves that they have at their disposal, where they'll do a quick flip of the hips, they'll do this, they'll do that to shake loose and what have you. And you've got to be dialed in on all of it, especially in man coverage. In zone coverage, you can be a little bit more looser because you're more protecting a part of the field rather than eventually you'll play man. Eventually.
Right, and then you gotta. But see, sometimes I think corners sometimes make this mistake. They always want to watch the ball first before the receivers. Got to watch the receivers.
Alcorn did it. Sean Murphy Bunting and Jamal Dean, my biggest critique is them when they're in man coverage, they're staring down the quarterback. I'm like, but that's not what you do in man coverage. You stare, you hit the quarterback when he looks at the quarterback because he knows when he's getting the ball.
Right.
So you're in man coverage, hip. And as soon as you see that from your route recognition, I always say burn a hole in. I always say to my corners, burn a hole in the near side hip, so the one that you're leveraged onto. We always play with outside leverage.
Everything doesn't have to be an interception.
No, it doesn't.
Just knock the ball down, make it to where the receiver's going to be hard for him to catch it.
Here's one for you. You've got a guy who throws that deep ball down the field, and let's say they're at your 40, and he throws a 20-yard pass. And if you pick it off, you're going to stumble, fall down, they're going to touch you, and you get it at, say, your 20. Or, and it's fourth down, you let it go dead, and it's turnover on downs. Those are the kinds of things that people don't think of when they do these things.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's just fundamentals. The fundamentals.
But it's so much to think about in a real game. No one's actually sitting there going,
oh, absolutely.
Here we go.
You just want to, you always want to focus on a lot of the things, but don't just primarily focus on just one thing. Is what I'm trying to say. As a corner, you want to, like I said, it doesn't have to be an interception every time. Watch the movement of the receivers, what routes they run, just the flip of the hips, the move, the shoulder movement, not trying to get past you. That's the key too.
And there's certain things that wide receivers do, like me and you probably wouldn't notice, but they will catch on film that if they're blocking, they might do a certain thing with their gloves. They might tighten up their gloves a bit more because they want to. That's their kind of little. It's like the little cues that they have in their own mindset. Right, I'm going to get ready to block. I'll tighten up my glove a bit more, or the way they stand, or the way they hold their shoulders, or the way they look at they don't look at the quarterback. They look at the sideline, or they look at a part of your body, or something like that. Those little keys are going. Okay, this is clearly a freaking run because every time he does this to me, he does this, and then he does that, and that's a whole different ball game. And then there's realizing what a wide receiver runs from his splits, so how far split out he is, whether he's inside the numbers, outside the numbers, how close he is to the hashes, etc., etc. What he's doing in trips, empty, etc. All those things, and that's probably what the part of what makes an elite corner or an elite defender elite, because they are able to pick up on those things. They just see it all, and it is like a calculator, like a machine going off in their head going, okay, this is the printout. There are 3 possible plays here. They're going to do this. And then they'll see something else, like the lineman will do this, and it all kind of comes into fruition.
Yeah, that's why you have the captain, the guy wearing the green dot. Okay, this is what the offense looks like. He's going to tell us guys, okay, go over here, go over there, do this, do that. And then that's where the corners, that's where they make their minds up. Okay, this is what he's going to do. And that's what, so yeah, like I said, communication is important. And you said great points, Slick. You really made some great points.
Absolutely. So with the preseason all wrapped up, and we've got the Tennessee Titans coming into town next. We're going to Tennessee. Yes, we're going to Tennessee.
Yeah.
We're us going to Tennessee, and we're going to have ourselves a time in Tennessee. Well, we're not, but the Buccaneers will. What do you guys most want to see coming out of camp? I think we go. I don't know when we go over there, but at camp and in the preseason game, what's the key matchups that you're hoping to see versus what you want to see as well? We'll start with you, Ben.
Okay, I want to go with the tight ends. We're probably going to see Brait play in this game. Not a lot, but we're going to see Otten. I can't pronounce his name. Clift or whatever.
Yeah, I say Keft. I don't know if that's right. I don't know if that's right.
Yeah. So I'm interested in the tight end position. I'm also interested, like you said, in the corners with the cornerbacks. That's what we're talking about. See what they can do. And the run game. We got to see who's going to separate them. So who's going to be that third guy? Because I think we know right now that Leonard and Rachaad White are going to be 1-2. And then is it going to be Vaughn or Bernard? And the receivers as well. Who's going to be that fifth? Who's going to be that fifth guy? They'll get more time. Is it going to be Johnson again? Is it going to be Darden? Is it going to be Scotty Miller? Whoever. Those are the ones I'm most interested to see.
Absolutely. And to just bounce off you there, for me, the biggest takeaway for me is Tyler Johnson stepping up, because he really was the wide receiver 1 today on that team. You look at his production numbers. I think he played predominantly slot, which I think is where they want him, because he's much more shifty. He doesn't have that breakaway speed that most of the others. What he does have is that twitchiness, that he can be a good in-breaker or a good out-breaker, he has a more complete route tree. I think the biggest knock on him is his hands doesn't always seem the most reliable at times. It's almost like the moment can overshine him, because he's made circus catches here and there. The Saints game, we're always going to talk about that one. And he's made some really slick catches in his build-up. The biggest problem was he has never been consistently slick or consistently trustworthy when the ball's thrown his way. They can go in and out of his hands, or they can just bounce off his hands.
And that's very vital when you're a route runner. You have to have great hands. Because a lot of times the receivers or the quarterback's not going to always put it in that right spot. It may be a little bit behind, a little bit too far out. That's where you have to make your hands have to make that play. You got to step, especially in the NFL.
Absolutely. And what about you, Alec? What do you want to see your takeaway from? We go to Tennessee Titans town. We go down the strip. And what do you want to see from your Tampa Bay Buccaneers?
I want to see the two. I want to go with my 2 interesting spots. Like you said, the running back. Who's going to be that third string running back behind Fournette and White in that the wide receiving group, and who's going to be those last 2 spots? Because my 2 that's sticking out is Stearns and Johnson. I think it's gonna be a 3-team race between Johnson, Geiger, and Stearns. But I'm loving what I can see from Stearns, how his shiftiness, speed is on the field, and how the route running is actually. Because I saw him in training camp. I mean, I'll be honest, I didn't know who he was at first. I just remember seeing 9. I thought the dude stole a Tryon practice jersey. I was like, I don't know who this dude is. But now I actually see him in the game. I'm liking what I saw from him today. Tyler Johnson, it's kind of like you've seen those flashes last year in the season. But I'm liking the new players. Actually, like
you like the new faces.
Yeah, new faces, and apparently he's our rookie undrafted receiver, if I remember.
Who you talk about? Stearns.
Yeah, Stearns.
Yeah,
the one that
I think he's
that led the nation last year. Last year he led the nation on 3 different stats. So I want to see. Those are like the 2 spots I'm looking for next week.
So right now, in that big rotation of the wide receivers.
You're wasting no time with that question, are you? Oh,
well, I
asked Ben first. I had to think about that one.
I'm saying Scotty Miller.
Who's the? I mean,
Scotty Miller saying that he can only do one thing: get open, running in a straight line. He hasn't shown any versatility yet. Every single other person you've spoken about has shown that they can change their route. They can, they can in-break, they can out-break, they have more complete run tree. We see Scotty Miller in a game now. I don't know if that's just Buccaneers bias and they know what he's good at, and we'll send him on a go. 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 But that's all he seems to be able to do. It's all, and he's very good at it. I'm not criticizing. I mean, I'd love to have his speed, if I'm honest. I'd take that to the bank. I win many father-son races at Sports Day, but that's not what we're here for. So for me, I think Scotty Miller is the odd man out at the moment. I don't think he'll be cut in this round of cuts at all, because I think there's still I think Kenyon Green, Devin Tompkins, Cameron Brown, who didn't play, Vincent Smith, who didn't really play. So you take Vincent Smith, Cameron Brown out of the equation, you've already nailed off 2 wide receivers, and then that wide receiver group is a little bit thinner. Then you look at Kalen Greer. I mean, the beauty of all this is, guys, and the flip side of all this is we have Mike Evans, Chris Godwin, Russell Gage, and Julio Jones as our 4 guys. I mean, that's pretty impressive as it is. And then you can sit there going, oh, we still got Cyril Grayson to look at. We still have Brashard Perriman to look at. We still have Tyler Johnson to look at. We still have Jalen Darden to look at. And then we have the other guys that we've been mentioning today who have had a bit more of an opportunity to really come out there, like a Kenyon Green, a Devin Tompkins, and the other Stearns to come out. That's still a lot of guys.
Well, here's the thing, though, Slick, too. I want to say real quick. Brady has great chemistry with Scotty Miller. So that could be something to look out for. Now, Brady's not here next week either. So still, Scotty Miller's going to have to do well with another quarterback. But what I'm saying is it seems like every time Miller has played, him and Brady have always had good chemistry. So you got to wonder if Brady, Tom Brady's Tom Brady. He's going to have say in his offense. Hey, you know what? I know the other guys are doing well, but I feel comfortable with this guy. So who knows? I mean, it'll be interesting to see what happens there.
And you're talking about guys who are being burners. If we're talking about guys who can be burners, we know that Cyril Grayson and Brashard Perriman do the same thing anyway. I think that's the big takeaway here. That's why Scott Miller's starting to look more like an odd man out, is because he's shorter than both of them. They're all in their they're all 6 something, and they're all really, really fast guys. So they all can do what he can do, and if they can add something to their route tree as well, then Tom Brady's like, well, hang on, I got a guy who can run an in break. I got a guy who can run a hitch. I got a guy who can run an out. I got a guy who can run a post bit. I got a guy who can do everything. But then I had this little guy. Don't get me wrong. I don't want anyone to think I'm bashing on Scotty Miller, because I'm really not. I'm a massive fan of him. I'm just saying how we're so stacked at wide receiver. It's almost like an embarrassment of riches at this point.
No, I'm not saying. Listen, again, Scotty Miller. I mean, if I were coming up with the decisions, I think he is the odd man out, because, like you said, we got guys that can do it better. It's just that I'm speaking from Tom Brady's standpoint. He's always seemed to have that connection with him.
Yeah,
the games
they vibe well, especially in the first season for sure. When we had those two touchdowns, I'm sure he's got more than that anyway. But he's able to. I mean, you can't fake that fade connection. That's a hard thing to produce on a regular basis. Look at Jameis Winston, when we were always saying that he couldn't hit Deshaun Jackson if he tried, and then Fitzmagic comes in and is able to find him every single bloody time.
Right. Yeah. Again, that's what I'm saying, though, Slick. Like,
you're right.
Brady may say, "Hey,
Todd, I can connect with those guys.
I'm comfortable with this guy. Let's not cut him right now. I know the other guy may be better. You may be taking him that 5th or 6th spot, but that's all I'm saying. Who knows? Maybe Brady might not. We don't know.
Valid point. I mean, we're not in the good graces of Tom Brady, so we do not know who Tom Brady looks at and goes, those are my. He might have in his own mind who he thinks his 6 are, but then he might have an 8 that could be interchangeable because of what certain things that they can do. So that's when it gets a bit more messy. And then you got to look at who's going to survive roster cuts. So Scotty Miller's not going to be left on our practice squad. Someone will pick him up for sure. There was already trade talk about him. So if someone's considering trading for him, if they get him for free, well, not for free, but without having to give anything up to get him, it's a slam dunk. Maybe a Jalen Darden might survive and stay on a practice squad. I don't know. But we know Brashard Perriman, he's struggled in the past to catch on other teams. So maybe the Buccaneers have that mindset again. Well, we'll keep Scotty Miller in, or we'll keep it. We'll let Tyler Johnson go, because those guys might just make it through the practice squad, whereas someone like Scotty Miller, I don't think would.
Yeah, but I think Tyler Johnson might get picked up by somebody.
I think he continues to have the season he's having for sure, the preseason for sure.
Because the talent's there. There's some teams value talent. They might say, okay, you know what, let's get in.
I didn't even know that. Yeah, Stearns is our rookie, so I feel like Stearns and Geiger, those are the two that you want to keep around practice squad wise.
I think squad players for sure. I think they have a big opportunity next year.
See, the thing is, like, this, at least this year, they have, because the injury bug hit us hard last year at receiving wise. I'm honestly, like you said, embarrassment of riches at receiving core. They there's depth and then there's depth. They have a lot, and those are the two I hope they keep around, just in case if some odd reason something happens. Not saying this time, Ben. So I wish bad luck on any certain particular player. He knows exactly what I'm talking about too. I'm gonna keep my mouth shut about that one.
Hey guys, by the way, Ray Kennedy was at the game tonight.
Yeah, I saw him.
I think he looked a little slammed. I was gonna say maybe he could do some karaoke with the Bucs band. We have a Bucs band now playing in the. So Ray, if you're watching, dude, shout out to you, man.
What's your karaoke piece, Ben? Do you have a karaoke piece?
I do not. I'm a little too shy, so
you go on.
Few more beers.
Live on
no. 8 beers in, he's not shy.
Yeah, right now I only have 2 beers, so we got a long way to go, gentlemen. So, hey, listen, guys, I'm gonna check out, but thanks for having me on tonight, man. I appreciate it.
Always a pleasure, and I will look forward to seeing you, Ben, on NFL Edition. Pump where you're from, pump what you guys got coming up, if you could, Ben.
Oh yeah, we do NFL Edition every Thursday night, 10 Eastern, 7 p.m. Pacific out in the States. I don't know what time that is. Like, I'm not sure. Are you 6-hour difference?
Same kind of time as my show, I think it is, isn't it?
Gotcha. Yeah, gotcha. Yeah. So we're kind of like that movie Old School, with Will Ferrell, and we're like
I want to know when Johnny is.
Yeah, we're like that fraternity. Blue, you're my boy. But yeah, so we have a lot of fun there. We talk about not just Bucs but NFL stuff as well around the league and stuff. So yeah, check us out, man. We appreciate the views and have fun with us because we do go a little crazy now. So yep, catch me on there, and I'm on Twitter at BennyBoy702, BenEBoy 702 if you have a Twitter.
There you go. Thank you, Ben. Much appreciated. And check out NFL Edition. I believe it comes out every Thursday, and it is roughly about 9:30 p.m. Eastern. Is that right?
Yeah, about 9:30, 10 p.m. Yeah.
Depends how many beers you've had. Yeah.
No, that's a work night, so I have to be
okay.
But anyway. Yeah.
But yeah, check them out. They do some good stuff, and it is a wild time. I've been on as a guest a couple of times. It's good fun.
Yep. All right, guys. Take care.
You too.
How pleased were you with Robert Hainsey at center? I know it's not a true, real kind of baptism of fire for him, so to speak, in the sense that he wasn't going up against premier pass rushers and premier interior D linemen. But is it encouraging? Are you picking up the phone to see if you can try and get a JC Tretter, or are you going, yeah, we'll see more what Hainsey was? Because I was looking at this game and thinking, this is going to be all about if Robert Hainsey can handle it. And now that Tom Brady's not there, and the D linemen that he was up against are probably tier 2, maybe tier 3, you're like, okay, we don't know because we haven't seen him up against the best yet.
From my standpoint on that, I just think the crazy part is before you said all that, I already have my answer, but I gotta go back into what I was gonna say.
Yeah, go for it.
So with that, you're right on that. With he hasn't played against pros.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they're all pros, but I'm saying like the
yeah, I know.
Veteran
him playing against guys.
But I feel like they're waiting. From what I've been hearing during the whole game, was they're kind of waiting to see how severe Jensen's injury is,
mm-hmm.
and if it's as severe as they were feared at worst, they make that phone call just to have depth in that position, so they're not like rushing to find a backup if, God forbid, number 1 and 2 go down.
Yeah.
But I feel like they're just like, you know what, we want to give him the confidence to step up in that position because they don't want that bad chemistry where he's like, oh well, they all just gave up on me and stuff like that.
It's a fair point. I didn't think of that. Like, that does kind of make you, from a regression point of view, you are going to sit there and go, oh, they don't think I can get the job done if they're going to just go straight out of house. They're not even giving me an opportunity. Whereas you can turn around. you could turn around and say after 2 weeks, as they do, we tried you. We still think there's more development in you. We're really pleased with your development so far. We just think what we're asking you to do is probably too much for a Super Bowl caliber playoff level team. So we think another year behind a veteran, you'll probably be ready like next year or something like that. Then he's like, yeah, okay. They gave me an honest shot, and yeah, the critiques that I've had on film, etc., in practice have been I'm not doing this and I'm not doing that and I'm not doing this well, or I'm not doing this as well. Then yeah, I can see where they're coming from. I can see why they're leaning towards the veteran, and I think it's almost kind of buttering someone up to a degree. I'm not saying that's what they're doing because they might generally like him. I mean, Tom Brady seems to like him, but Tom Brady really didn't like him. I'm sure JC Tretter would already be here.
Yeah, from that standpoint, it's more so their image. They don't want to be that team that they basically gave up on their center. They give him a chance. It's just like that league image. They're like, they don't want that bad blood in their hands, just like Cleveland did with Baker. Like they basically did they even tell Baker that they're going to try to make a trade for him or look for another quarterback, and then they go away from it and they go back to it. The Bucs just don't want that kind of bad chemistry on the team, that bad locker room presence, where they're giving up on players before they give them the shot. I mean, hell, they gave OJ Howard 4 years? He didn't produce like the whole season.
No, he just couldn't, and the problem was like he had the opportunity to, because when Gronk went down, that was his opportunity to be. I'm going to be the next Gronk. I will be Gronk for this team. And it just never came into fruition. I think that was the biggest. And I'm not talking about the other years, because the other years I think he started off with a bit of a splash, and then he just kind of fizzled out completely. And it always seemed to be due to injuries as well. So he couldn't keep healthy at all. And I think that's always been was always his problem in the first place. He's always had that talent, and it's like just couldn't keep together. So Austin Seferian-Jenkins, when we drafted him in the second, he was really, really good skill set wise. He just couldn't keep it together off field. He was too busy getting drunk and driving and doing stupid stuff. And you just think to yourself, well, if I had that opportunity, I wouldn't do stupid stuff like that. And I think that's how the NFL fan looks at things, if it were me. And I think that's why sometimes we get a little bit angry when we see football players or celebrities or whatever do stupid stuff when they have, like, why would you drink and drive when you're a millionaire? Like, you can pay someone to pick you up and it probably won't even, it's pocket change. Like, come on.
Oh, just like Henry Ruggs.
Yes, and all of the situations where you've heard of people getting involved in what we call the unholy trinity, which is booze, women, and drugs and guns. So if you want to go with the triple threat, a quadruple threat, why would you even entertain that idea when you can just pay someone like an Uber or even someone privately to pick you up and just get you out of a situation, rather than escalate it by jumping into a sports car and driving it and doing stupid stuff? It's just beyond me how that mindset is. But hey, I'm not in that world. It's not my world to judge. I have no idea. The Browns lost their center today, potentially lost their center today, so it looks like JC could be straight off the market. Do you think this could push the Buccaneers in making a decision, or do you think the Buccaneers are really doing what you just said and just like, we're going to do our due diligence, we're going to give Robert Hainsey a chance, and we're hoping that he can hold down the fort until Ryan Jensen can get back?
I think they're sticking to their decision of keeping it in-house, because they don't want to, like, the way I've seen it the last couple of years, they don't want to get rid of somebody or make a roster move unless they really have to. They kept players on the team that fans were saying that they could have got rid of a long time ago. They just don't want to give up on him too easily and just say, yeah, we're going to go with this guy. They're like, what about me? Yeah, we don't care about you.
Mm-hmm.
They don't want to give it I feel like in a situation, if he doesn't become that guy, then it's kind of like those SOL moments where they missed out on JC Tretter, but at least they gave that guy a chance. But the way the ownership has this team set, they want to go to a Super Bowl now.
Because they know time for me.
Like, as in, like, I mean, everybody wants to go to the Super Bowl, but they've did all these off-season moves so they fixed the wide receiver depth. They fixed they added depth into the corner. They added depth at the running back. I feel like, I mean, I've seen crazier in NFL, so they could probably possibly just give him a call just for insurance.
Yeah.
If they do it that way, I'm fine with that. That probably won't ruin the chemistry in the locker room. If they're gonna be like, you're gonna be a starter, but we're gonna sign him just for insurance, just so we're not like screwed over in the situation later down the road for it if you get injured. God forbid.
The problem with that is Alec is he's going to command a hefty salary. I mean, it's not going to be stupid money, but it's going to be in the region of probably 8 to 10 mil. And Robert Hainsey's probably a heck of a lot less than that. And my biggest thing is, you watch the pre-game show that I did earlier, I was alluding to the fact that, okay, let's be nice and say that Ryan Jensen comes back week 9. So you can't, and you take a JC Tretter, you can't trade JC anywhere because the trade deadline's done.
Yeah.
Are you really going to keep close to like 5 million sat on your bench? And I said, if JC Tretter could do other jobs, or Ryan Jensen could do other jobs, like go to guard, and I'm not saying they can, I have no idea, I really have no clue on this case, and they could go to guard and do a job, then you end up strengthening your offensive line as well. You end up augmenting your offensive line by taking out a guard that might not have been as good, and keeping the center partnership going. So it was kind of win-win. But if neither of them can have the versatility to do that, it's kind of pointless.
Yeah, that's why I feel like they're waiting, so they won't be in that same situation. Like most Bucs fans are like, why haven't we signed him? Why haven't we signed him? They want to make sure they know all the information before they make a move.
Yeah.
But if they say, he's out for season, okay, let's get a backup player for insurance. He's not for season, he's gonna be out for like 9-10 games or like 11. Let's just go what we have and give him the starting spot and just go with that. You can't just that's why they're waiting, so they can get like the official, like the confirmation for his injury.
Yeah, I completely agree with you. I think they're just playing it by ear, making sure they get that information first before they make it. They want to make an informed decision rather than just a knee-jerk reaction, which is what I think your average Buc fans are expecting. Alec, thank you for joining us on the show. It's much appreciated. Always appreciate your insight. Tell everyone where we can catch you and if there's anything you've got coming up.
You can find me on Twitter. That's my Twitter handle right there. I mostly just pop up on any show on here, and I'm a freelancer now, so
just go where you need it, like a mercenary. Yeah. Ready for battle.
In a sense, yeah. Or you have a good night, Slick.
And you, man. Much appreciated for coming on the show. I'll see you again soon.
All right, see you.
Okay, guys, I think that's all we've got time for. I'm pretty tired. It is rolling up to my 5 o'clock in the morning, and I do need to get some sleep. Hopefully the dude, if he wants to come back in, he can take over the show. If not, I will be wrapping up here in the next 2 minutes. So we've learned a lot about our Buccaneers. We learned that they didn't play any starters. We learned that that wide receiver group is tighter than we think it is. We also learned that our kicker has a little bit of pressure on him. He struggled a little bit, but we've got a lot more to go than that. And we learned that our corner isn't ready straight away. He will take a little bit of development, and I'm good with that. It takes time for things to work. I think ultimately we did pretty well. It's not about wins and losses at this point. It's about the performance, and that sounds terrible when you say it like that, but that's the boat we're in right now. It's about stringing things together. We had a drive where we could have won the game. That's the kind of position the coaches want to see us get into, that we're in that position to try and win a game rather than fight to try and even get into the conversation of winning the game. We were in that game the whole time. It didn't feel like it was ever lost, and they were able to filter in guys in and out. Well, I've been Steve Slick Probert. It's been much appreciated for everyone who's come in. I don't think the dude is coming back unless he pops up. Thank you for tuning into the post-game show. I hope you've had a good time, and I hope you enjoyed watching your Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And just before we go, press it's the damn 19. Please change your number. Yeah, we got bad vibes over that number. Let's not talk about that too much, especially for kickers. Guys, it's always been a pleasure. It's never been a chore. Have a great weekend. If there's more football on, we'll watch it. Until then, I will see you soon. I've been Coach. Thank you very much. Night.